Hi everyone. Today we're doing a targeted flexibility practice for your hips. This is going to be part of a targeted flexibility series that targets different areas of your body, whether you're working towards just general flexibility in that area, or you're working towards a deeper movement, a deeper yoga movement in that area. So for hips example, like pigeon or some sort of king pigeon, something like that. But this is the pillow that you would use to prepare for that. Bear in mind that this hip flexibility stretch will not entirely allow you to gain full access to your hips, because you still need to gain that flexibility, deeper flexibility in your psoas, your core, your back, literally everywhere else. So this is just a targeted flexibility practice. This is going to help you gain more flexibility, more mobility in your hips. You don't need anything for this flow, though I will use a pillow at times just because my knee is feeling sensitive today. Let's get started. All right, let's get started. As you can see, I put my pillow at the back of my mat just in case I need it. You could put your pillow blanket there as well, sweatshirt, whatever you need to give yourself a little bit of cushion in your knees. Let's start at the center of your mat, and we're just gonna roll our hips. I love doing this movement just so you can start to feel your body for the day, invite mobility, and invite just like positive energy into your body for the day. Breathe. Bring your hands into it, however you see fit. And just go the other way. So we're gonna work our inner hip and outer hip, internal and external rotation of your hip during this practice. I'm sure we could dedicate a full class to outer and inner, but we're going to include both of them today. Settle your hips. You're going to bend your knees, maybe propping your hands on a desk, chair, bed. Bend your knees, sink your hips low. You don't have to go this low. You can stay a little bit more in a squat if that's what your knees are interested in today. Otherwise, come into Malasana. No matter where you are, you're going to bring your left knee in, out, in, and out. 10 more. So this is a hip mobility exercise. If you're in your squat, you're just rotating your knee in on the ball of your foot and out. 6 more. 5. Breathe. You're tall in your squat, no matter what height. Yes, it's a bit of an exercise too. You're gonna come onto your left leg. Now your right comes in. 10 more. Same idea if you're in squat, pivoting on the ball of your right foot inwards. 4 left. And if you're going a little bit slower, that's okay. Just pause the video. Now straighten your knees out, fold forward, and breathe. Roll up. Well, I would love to stretch all of our leg. We're just focusing on your hip today, like I said in the beginning. Well, it's beneficial to stretch out your whole leg. We are just focusing on your hips. So you would use this if your hips are feeling especially tight or sticky that day, or if you're working towards a deeper stretch or movement that really requires your hip. Inhale, raise your hands up and into the sun. Exhale, fold. Step your right foot back. High lunge. Pivot open to warrior 2. And back. And open. Again, inviting that mobility into your hip, flossing out your hip joint. 2 more. Slowly lower onto your right knee. I'm just gonna take my pillow because my knees are feeling sensitive today. Pull your left hip back, right hip forward, and place your right hand on the ground. You're going to come onto the outside of your left foot, pushing your left knee away from you. And breathe. Really breathing deeply in through your nose, sending that breath to the pit of your belly, to the space where you feel the stretch. You can even come onto your right forearm for our last 2 breaths. Come on to all 4 corners of your left foot, tuck your right toes under, open up to sit. We're gonna come back, again, flossing your hip joint. Pivoting onto the ball and the heel of your right foot, 2 more. Last one. Slowly come onto your glutes, remove your pillow, and bring your left foot in towards center. Raise your hands up and into the sun, point your right toes, and tilt over to your right side. So this is gonna get your QL a little bit, which does attach to your glutes. So we'll just stretch this area and breathe. A lot of the time, our hips can be really tight from our lower back. So we're just going to explore this, loosen anything that's inhibiting your movement. Breathe into the space where you feel the stretch. 2 more breaths. Slowly come to sit. Place your hands on the ground. Come onto your left shin. Bend your right knee. And we're going to come into frog pose. So slide your knees out, pushing your hips toward the ground as much as possible. And breathe. We're going to revisit the stretch a couple of times. So it's okay that we're only going to be here for about 4 more breaths. But I want you to really feel this depth, this opening of your hips. We hold a lot of security, past energy here, positive or negative. So let's just let it all go. Let yourself start anew. Invite change, positive change. And anything that's weighing you down, again, positive or negative memories, experiences, we want to keep moving forward rather than being held back. 2 more breaths. Place your hands on the ground. If you were on your forearms, slide your knees in. Tuck your toes under, folding forward. Breathe here. And then slowly come to stand tall. Pivot on all 10 toes. High lunge on your right side. Inhale, raise your hands up and into the sun. Pulling your right hip back and the left hip forward. Open up, warrior 2. And back. And warrior. Beautiful, 4 more. Breathing with your movement. Last one. back to center, slowly lowering your left knee to the ground. Maybe grabbing that pillow or blanket if your knee's feeling funky today like mine. Pull your right hip back, left hip forward. Beautiful. Left hand on the ground. Come to the outside of your right foot, pushing your knee gently away from you. And 5 deep breaths. Beautiful. All 4 corners of your right foot on the ground. Right hand onto by your left pivot open. Remove your pillow. And back through 4 more. Flossing into your left hip. Last one, sit. Bring your right foot in, raise your hands, inhale. And exhale, tilt over your left leg, breathing into the space. Four more breaths. Slowly come back up. Shift onto your shin and your left. Slowly sit back into your frog pose. Again, maybe you're on your hands, your knees are quite close, which is totally fine. I just want you to breathe here. 5 deep breaths. Come onto your forearms, or if you're still on your hands, that's fine. You're going to keep your right knee bent. Come to lay on your belly. Straighten out your left behind you. Come onto your hands. Reach your right arm up and into the sky, and you're going to thread your right hand underneath your left. You might get a nice crack in your back. And we're just going to stay in this twist for 4 deep breaths. Slowly come back to center. Both forearms on the ground. Straighten out your right leg. Bend your left. Raise your left hand to the side, to the wind. And then thread your left hand underneath your right. Again, just coming onto your right forearm or whatever's comfortable for 4 breaths. Slowly untwisting, both palms on the mat. Step back into a tabletop position. Roll up to sit on your knees. Raise your hands up and into the sun. Tilt over to your right. Inhale. And exhale over to your left. To your right. And to your left. Then walk your hands out in front of you, tuck your toes, tiptoe to meet your wrists. Raise your hands high, inhale. Exhale, fold. Step your right foot back, high lunge. Raise your hands high, inhale. Exhale, pivot, warrior two. And back. And warrior two, 4 more. Maybe sitting a little bit lower in your lunge each time you come back to high lunge. Beautiful. Slowly back to high lunge, coming into your low lunge, resting your right knee on the ground. Sit low, pulling your left hip back, right hip forward. Place your right hand on the ground towards the inside of your left foot, and then come onto the outside of your left foot, pushing gently your left knee away from you. Beautiful. Inhale. Exhale out of your mouth. Feeling this rush of energy flow to your hip, any deficient spaces in your hip. Three more breaths. Maybe coming onto your forearm if that's comfortable for you. Beautiful. Both palms on the ground, pivot open. Remove your pillow and back on the ball of your right foot to your heel. 3 more. Sit low. Bringing your left foot in towards you. Inhale, raise your hands. Exhale, fold over. Maybe this time reaching for your toes, opening your heart to the sun. 4 breaths. Really trying to keep your left knee and your left hip on the ground. Exhale, slowly come back up. Onto your glutes, reverse your knee. Again, we're coming into frog pose. Or however you get there, slide your knees away from you and breathe. An alternative to this is a wide child's pose. It won't necessarily get as deep into your inner thighs, into your inner hips as this does. However, you could sit back in a child's pose and just widen your knees. We're going to take 3 more breaths here. Slowly come onto your hands, slide your knees in toward one another. Tuck your toes under, hips high, downward dog. Briefly walk your toes up, raise your hands. Inhale, exhale, fold. Look forward, step your left foot back, high lunge. Pull your right hip back, left hip forward. Open up, warrior two. And back to high lunge, warrior two. 4 more. Engage your core. Notice how when I come back to high lunge, I just briefly lower my hips just to get a little bit more of a stretch in my psoas. Last one. Beautiful. Back to high lunge, lowering your left knee to the ground into your low lunge. Right hip back, left hip forward, left hand on the mat, opening up onto the right side of your right foot, gently pushing your knee away from you. And 4 breaths. And as you breathe, imagine that you're breaking down a dam of energy, of water, if you tend to think in metaphors, that rushes down into your hip, into these spaces that have felt crunchy or sticky or just tight. Imagine that water, that magic, that energy rushes over those areas, cooling the sensation of stretch, making it feel nice and lovely rather than tough and annoying. Right hand on the mat, all 4 corners of your right foot, pivot open, remove your pillow if you have it, and back. 4 more. Lower your hips, bring your right ankle in towards you. Trying to keep your right knee, right hip on the ground, raise your right hand, tilt over to your left. 4 deep breaths, keeping your heart open to the sun. Exhale, slowly come back to center. Both hands on the outside of your right hip. Pivot on your left foot to come onto your hips with your right knee bent outside of you. We're gonna come into that weird twist that we did earlier. Raise your right hand. Exhale, twist. Beautiful. 3 deep breaths. So you're twisting away from your bent knee. Slowly come back. Sit back and switch sides. Left hand raises, exhale, twist. Slowly come back. Sit onto your ankles, cross them onto your glutes. We're going to do a classic outer hip stretch. It feels lovely on your lower back. There's a few variations. I'm going to start from beginner to advanced. So, beginner. Straighten both knees out. Bend your right knee. Cross it over your left thigh. Number 1. Number 2, you start to bend your left knee in towards you. Remain here. Number 3, you attempt releasing your hands from your knee, and you breathe here. Number 4, you slide your knees atop each other and try and create a line with your shins. And breathe here. No matter where you are, I invite you to kind of move around maybe a little bit, tempt different tilts from side to side or folding forward, just feeling this really nice stretch. We're gonna stay here for 5 deep breaths, really deep, really slow, letting that energy flow through your hips, releasing any rocks, any rubbish, any blockages that are in the flow of energy, of blood that is supposed to go towards your hips that could cause you more flexibility. Let's breathe. Slowly come up to sit tall. Sit back on your glutes, straighten out your legs in front of you. Briefly breathe in through your nose, out of your mouth. Exhale, fold forward. Slowly roll up, bend your left knee in towards you. Again, this is number 1. Bend your knee, your right in towards you, number 2. Releasing your knee all together, 3 and 4, straightening out your shins. And 5 breaths. Again, maybe inviting movement. Slowly come up to sit. Onto your hips. Bring your knees in towards your chest. Come to lie on your back. You're going to straighten out your left knee. Bend your right. Pull your right knee in towards your chest, not using your hands. Place your hands by your hips. Draw a circle with your toes towards your left. Bend your knees. Drawing a half circle to your right side, back to center. Just like that. 3 more. Now reverse, just 2 here. Beautiful. Straighten out your right knee, bend your left. Draw a circle out, down, and back. 3 more. And reverse it. Beautiful. Bend your knees in towards center. Cradle your knees in your hands. And rock. Place your feet on the ground near your hips. Briefly lift your hips using the strength of your glutes. Inhale, exhale, lower. 2 more glute bridges. Pressing your heels into the ground. Last one. Beautiful. Now just remain on your back. You can straighten out your knees here or keep them bent, whatever is most comfortable for you. Breathing into your hips, into this space where so many emotions can get trapped and can cause so much discomfort. Breathe, and as you breathe, imagine that your breath is a rushing river. The discomfort, loose rocks or brush. And each time you inhale, that river becomes stronger. Those rocks, that brush, don't stand a chance. They get washed away with the current. Last breath. Beautiful. Come onto your right side. Guide yourself up to sit. Take a deep breath in, raise your hands. Thank your body for moving today, for removing those rocks, that brush that was not supposed to be in your river, that you can easily clear and clean. Thank your body for inviting this energy, this cleansing energy, this positive energy into your body, into your hips. And I thank you so much for practicing with me today. If you are excited to see the rest of this flexibility, this targeted flexibility series, please let me know in the comments. Take part in the polls that I post under my community tab so I know what types of flows, what types of stretches, what types of flexibility classes you are looking for. And please subscribe to my channel so I know you want me to make more videos. Share this with somebody who you think it might help. And I'll see you next time. Bye.